Welcome to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. In this segment, Pat and James discuss the random stupid things we do as coping strategies that don't ever seem to work. In other words, it's the search for cheap equanimity. It's time to get real.
Yeah, let's get real.
Time to get real.
Let's get real.
Time to get real.
Okay, let's get real.
All right, let's bring it in. Circle it up.
Pull the joystick.
Right. So we were talking about, with all seriousness. We were talking about, the silly little, sometimes, more than silly, kind of downright I don't want to say destructive because that's a whole other level. But the stupid things that we do as sort of angst, anxiety, or just random coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
That ultimately don't work because they
Yeah.
create stress where we're trying to remove stress, but they become like these innate things that we always go to.
Mm-hmm.
And do you want me to break the seal on my unhealthy, the one that I have now?
Bring it on.
Or okay, you didn't want to start. Okay, I don't
Lay
want
it
to
down.
be the steal the thunder guy.
Oh God, no.
Okay. So here I am, a 20 years sober alcoholic, right? All good, but I can't stop this M&M habit that is driving me abso-fucking-lutely nuts. Where it's like the stressful day, everything blows up, nothing goes right. Feel like, probably, and I'm probably wrong, but it feels like everybody in my life is mad at me, or
Yeah.
I'm falling short in some critical way.
Yeah.
Right. That they're not telling me, and I'm trying to figure it out, and it's just like and I'm rarely blocked, but for whatever reason, writing feels like slogging through molasses. And so my go-to is at night to like grab a crossword puzzle in an obscenely sized bowl of M&Ms, turn on a show, right?
Yeah.
It could be just about anything, and just sit there and bump with the M&Ms
Yeah.
and do the crossword.
Oh yeah.
And it shuts my brain off.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is I don't feel good for eating that many M&Ms
Mm-hmm.
because it's just not healthy.
Yeah.
And then I can't sleep because I'm so wound up from chocolate
Mm-hmm.
that it ruins, the night's sleep. And so the next day I'm like in more shape than I was before I came into it.
Gotcha.
And so why isn't a crossword puzzle and TV good enough for shutting down my brain, right? So
Yeah.
I've, and not to go too deep, but I've, at the new year, I said enough,
Mm-hmm.
this has gone on long enough. And so I've set them aside, and here I am dealing with it. And in the weirdest way, I don't want to compare it to getting sober or anything that's truly hard, but it's
Yeah.
a fucking pain in the ass.
Are you white knuckling it?
I was, yeah. I don't feel like I'm white knuckling it now, but yeah, I really was. Not, and again, I don't want to portray it as anything monumental, right? Like, I'm not leaning on my higher power to guide me through. Though, there are times where I'm like, okay, what does the universe want me to do at this moment? And it's like, well, just do the thing that you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good one, because I think it just encapsulates, for many people, where they're at with a particular coping mechanism, which so my initial thing is, well, you're not a meth addict, it could be worse,
Yeah.
but and I truly feel that about many habits, is that, God, it could be so much worse, especially for me, because I tend to be a bit excessive, and I just think, well, I don't drink like I used to. So my coping mechanisms are either alcohol or food, usually. And I'm not a binge eater, nothing like that. I used to be a binge drinker. Now if I have 3 drinks, that's like a binge, and I feel so
Mhm.
crap the next day. I'm like, well, I don't need to do that again for a while. But that took many, many years for me to even get to that point, and
Yeah.
it was just sheer stubbornness. So the thing that I can relate to about your coping mechanism of the crossword, the screen, and the M&Ms is that they're all a way to kind of unplug your mind. And there's something about the physical gratification of eating something like when it's got a little bit of crunch, it's sweet, it's like it's flooding you with sugar, it feels good.
Mhm.
That's I to me, that is gonna change your sort of state. Uh,
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah.
if it didn't cause the next day problems of not feeling good, kind of like for me, so my I was just on Tuesday, I was feeling anxious all day, and then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have a drink tonight. So I had a drink, and then I had
Mhm.
another one, and then I had a third one, and then I was like, oh, now I feel sick. I don't feel good,
Right.
And so then I was like, well, I went to bed. The next day I woke up and I was like, my body knew that I had had 3 drinks because its calibration has
Yeah.
changed a lot since I was young. 3 drinks before would not have mattered.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, why did I do that? And then I was like, because it made me feel better, you know,
Right.
in the moment. I kind of forgot
Right.
about my problems for a few moments, few hours actually. And then even the next day, I actually felt, even though physically I didn't feel that great, I actually felt numbed out enough because
Right.
I think that's what it helps me with is when I'm feeling kind of on edge about stuff and I can't put my finger on it and I can't solve the problem, or the problem seems unsolvable, like some of life's problems are, you just got to get through them. Um, Sedation and whatever form of medication you're into feels like a solution, but the only real solution is to be able to um, not have to cope, like not have to
Right.
numb out. And
Right. Right. Yeah, it's to take a break, and
yeah,
the way that I describe it is it's like, if life is a merry-go-round,
yeah,
most of the time it goes at a good enough speed, right?
yeah,
It doesn't go too slow, doesn't go too fast, right? It's manageable.
yeah.
Every now and again it gets going really fast.
Mhm.
And we look for those ways to not just slow it down, but just get the fuck off,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And just not just shut down, right?
yeah, that's it.
Now, and it's not about sleep shut down. It's about getting off the merry-go-round and not even, and then forgetting that it's even there,
Yeah,
right? Being able to just turn it off.
yeah.
And you know, yeah, and so, I don't, know what the answer to anything is. How do you do that without having, things that you do? And because we're human, we're going to drift towards what works,
Mhm.
and often what works is something that works in the moment,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So for you, it's having a drink and then two and then or three and then feeling like, oh, what I didn't, that's not really what I wanted,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
And the same for me is like in the moment, it's the everything is forgotten, but I'm also like, this isn't really what I want either.
yeah. And I think part of it is the sort of so for me, on Tuesday, I poured a scotch. I had like a couple of sips and I was like, I don't like the way that tastes today for some reason.
Mhm.
So then I had what did I have? Uh like a gin and soda with lime. And I
Mhm.
drank that whole thing, and I was like, that tastes okay because it doesn't taste like anything." And then I had a glass of Chardonnay. Like, I couldn't find what I wanted,
Yeah,
even in the type of thing I was drinking, and so, that's it's so clearly meant to, um, sort of medicate when you're
yeah.
trying it and it's not working, you don't even like the way it tastes, so then I was watching this, show called Murder in Suburbia. I think it's from 2006. It's an English show, and, I've been sedating with that because it's just really it's silly and it makes me
Yeah.
laugh and, and then, there's other things, but I think like what you do to, numb out, sedate, feel better, whatever, it can be really what looks like minor behavior compared to a meth addiction. It can be a bowl
Right.
of M&Ms.
Right.
Um, it can be three drinks that you don't even finish because you don't actually like the way they taste and you don't feel any better when it's done, but you can feel the effects the
Mhm.
next day because you got enough to make a difference. And I think maybe the thing that I'm seeking when I'm sedating is actually a perspective change.
Right.
And that doesn't come from M&Ms. Uh, it's not comfort, it's a perspective change that's needed, but
Mhm.
what we want is comfort. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, yeah. Comfort, solace, that escapism
Yeah.
piece. And so if you go online and look this, Google it, you're gonna get like all these top, 10 lists, like 10, here's how to do this, here's how to do
Yeah.
that, right? And it's gonna be
Self-soothing,
like,
right?
and it's gonna be like, go for a run,
Yeah.
practice yoga.
Yeah.
I already run. I'm a good runner.
Yeah.
I mean, not a fast, like, I don't mean to be like you. If you would see me to trail running, you would not say, there goes a deer through the woods. You would be like, what the hell is that guy doing? Is he trying to kill himself?
Looks like he's digging ditches. Where's his shovel? Oh
That,
no, he's
that
running.
does not look honorable.
Yeah, that's
But I
funny.
do it, right? And you do it, you've got the cold plunge, there's all
Yeah,
these things that we do,
yeah.
right? And it's also when I guess this is the point, is like, we do these things already, and then the other ones are like work on our own writing,
Mhm.
go out, do our creative thing. But there's times where it's like, fuck, I don't want to do that. I
Yeah,
just want to turn the brain off,
yeah. I just wanna
you know?
suck a giant thumb without actually sucking my own thumb, you know?
Right.
Yeah, but I think what I'm really, looking for in those moments for myself, speaking solely for myself, is a way to feel different about how I'm living my life, and that is not gonna come from just having a drink, and
Right.
so but the things that do work to make me feel different about how I'm living my life are quite specific, and they involve like planning and travel and um,
Mhm.
meditation. And so there are things like you said that we already build into our lives. So
Mhm.
it's hard to know what to do in the moment when you need to cope, um,
Mhm.
but the habits that you use to cope are not doing you any good anymore, and it's like, "Do I get a new habit?" And then if so, what would
Mhm.
it be? Like, is a bowl of grapes gonna be the same as a bowl of M&Ms, you know?
No, because it's not, there is a physical component, right?
Yeah,
So like
yeah,
chocolate does have a reactive aspect to it in your body, right?
yeah, yeah.
And that was definitely part of it. So I'm not like searching around looking for a new drug.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a question.
That's a question.
I don't have an answer.
Yeah, I don't have
So
one
am I going
either.
to be more wound up now that I've gotten rid of this other coping tool? And as you, whittle them away, is it am I going to be more wound up? You
As
know,
part yeah. Are
I
you?
don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. Maybe I'm forcing myself to find something that works better.
Well, and here's another question that kinda creeps into my mind when I give something up that I like, even if it's not doing what I want it to do, is
Mhm.
what am I, like, punishing myself? Like, what am I? Don't can't I have any fun anywhere? Like, I hardly
Right.
enjoy most of my life is shit, like, can I just please have this drink or, this, that my kids gave me chocolates, and I'm having 2 of them a night because they feel good, right? And I'm like, Are we
Terrible.
are we living in a cave here? Can we just have some fun stuff that doesn't have to turn into a problem?" But
Yeah.
the point comes where you feel like, "Well, it is actually not doing what I need it to do." And so then the search is on, but what's the search for?
Yeah. Well, and you're bringing up like super big questions, and what is how to live a meaningful life so that you don't even feel this, right? And
Mm.
so, is that a state of being mid-ladder in terms of a creative, right? And,
Mm,
and I think there's a part of me, and maybe, this is a very common thing, maybe not, that feels like, oh, if I can get to the next rung of the ladder, if I can get to the next level, then I'll be at peace, right? Or
Mm.
maybe not at peace, but I'll feel more at ease, or I'll feel, I'll have the more meaningful life or the more meaningful this or that, right? But maybe this is just, the human condition.
Yeah.
And, the Ryan Goslings of the world, are still, probably not.
Oh,
Ryan, I'm
no,
sorry.
no. I
No,
agree.
no.
Yeah.
Ryan, apologies.
Why are you, you're pedestaling that guy? Is that even a verb?
I
It is
really am.
now.
Yeah, I got a little, social, friend crush going, but
You want to have a bromance with Ryan.
yeah, a little bromance. But yeah, is it the human condition, and maybe we need to figure a way to figure that out,
To
you know.
accept it. So here's the thing. You did say, like if living a more meaningful life, does that, to get to the point where we don't even feel this. So we don't even feel this. There was words to that effect. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think when you say, it happens, what if this is just the human condition? I think it is. Like the point is not feeling it. And I feel like that's the part where I'm stuck. I don't want to feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but the point is being able to feel it and then not take it personally or not feel so invested in that you do stuff that isn't, that you don't really want to do. So that's a puzzler because that goes back to just those other things that you have to do to be able to manage yourself, which are a lot of it to do with physical and mental health.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, so I don't know. Again, you Google this stuff, and it's, go for a run, get some exercise, get meditate, da 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 da.
Talk to a friend.
And, talk to a friend, and you can do all of those things, but there's still going to be those, times and moments where it's like, I'm already doing these things and I'm feeling a little angsty. Like the merry-go-round, for whatever reason, sped up today.
Yeah.
And or this week or this month or this year.
Or the last 3 years.
Yeah, or the last 3 years. Yeah, we go through those phases in life too, where
Hmm.
you have a bad day, you have a bad week, you have a bad month, but we can go through phases that last a lot longer for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
And they don't. There's no quick fix to when you're in one of those phases. There's no quick fix, right?
Hmm.
So you
Hmm.
have to figure out how to navigate, and
Yeah.
that can be the trick.
Yeah. And coping mechanisms have their place, I think, in life. So I guess it's really the thing we're talking about is when you discover that a coping mechanism that you've been kind of relying on or enjoying or whatever, you're no
Mhm.
longer enjoying it, but you're now reliant on it or feel like you are, and
Mhm.
or think you might be, and you can't think of what else to do instead, So, and that leaves a gap. And so, how do you feel about that gap? Do you feel like you just gave up something for no reason because it's your life and you're going to die anyway, or do you feel like you're going to learn something from
Yeah,
changing a habit that isn't serving you anymore?
yeah. The nihilist versus Buddha. Or-
Okay. Well put. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess the search for equanimity continues.
I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, uh, unfortunately, this segment of Gifted Underachievers, brought to you by Karma,
Not
is
dogma.
not gonna solve all the problems. But here we go.
Thanks for listening.
We're all living a life.
Cool.
Thanks for listening to Gifted Underachievers, the podcast for mid-level creatives with delusional ambitions. We'd love to hear how we're doing, so please leave a comment, join our chat page, or send us an email at giftedunderachievers@substack.com. You can also find us on Spotify, iTunes, and just about anywhere else you like to download your podcasts. Thanks, and have an awesome day.